WNYNewsNow.com. I am here with Eddie Sundquist, the candidate for the 23rd District Congress in New York State. Eddie, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. We're going to talk about gun control. First issue, almost 60 people killed in Las Vegas on Sunday night at a concert. It was supposed to be a gathering, a festive gathering, turned horrible, a mass massacre in Las Vegas. Your thoughts about the guy that was shooting out of 320 feet up?
Get out of here! There's gunshots coming from over there! Go that way!
The suspect, I can tell you that we know now that he fired off and on for somewhere between 9 and 11 minutes.
The fact that he had the type of weaponry and amount of weaponry in that room, it was pre-planned.
And this is an incredible tragedy. You know, we were watching the video earlier about the brave men and women from the Sheriff's Department that were the first responders. They're incredible to run in while everyone else was running out of that place. You know, we haven't seen a tragedy like this since the Pulse nightclub, and it's incredibly difficult and hard. And my prayers really do go out to all of the family members and all of the folks that are injured.
Now, the Obama administration was heavily criticized for blaming a lot on our lack of gun control in this country, or no gun control as it stands right now. President Obama was famous for saying, pushing his agenda while killings were going on.
I've heard folks say that having the families of victims lobby for this legislation was somehow misplaced. A prop, somebody called them. Emotional blackmail, some outlets said. Are they serious? Do we really think that thousands of families whose lives have been shattered by gun violence don't have a right to weigh in on this issue?
If gun control would have been implemented, would it have been harder for this man to get that many guns at one time?
I think so. I think our biggest issue with gun control is ensuring that we have adequate background checks and making sure that the folks that do have guns have been vetted. You know, one of our biggest concerns is that we are giving guns to people that maybe should not have them. You know, I've always been a supporter of having guns for personal reasons, and I think you have a constitutional right to do so. But many times that right needs to make sure that you are both safe and responsible in your gun ownership. In this case, it was very difficult to figure out what was going on with this gentleman. And I will say that Nevada has very, very lax gun control laws and do allow assault rifles and other guns which should not have been bought and were used in this instance.
43 weapons were found in Stephen Paddock's home and in the Mandalay Bay 32nd story hotel room. Now, when you look at this, the gun control and the background checks, the ATF background checks, as it stands right now in New York State, does one felony eliminate a person from being able to obtain a gun?
You know, I think that we need to make sure that we look at what that felony is. You know, not all felonies should necessarily prevent someone from ownership, but there are a lot of felonies that do. You know, we need to make sure that we look at the comprehensive picture, and we need to make sure that we are ensuring that the mental stability of the people having guns is something we look at.
SAFE Act has been much talked about as a bill that was pretty much passed overnight. Andy Goodell always tells us this bill kind of flew right over the heads of legislators and onto the desk of Cuomo for a quick signature. Yes. Can we look at certain things as being good and bad about the SAFE Act? Are there pros and cons to that as it stands right now?
Absolutely. You know, from my perspective, the SAFE Act was rushed. You know, it could be very good act that we could have had to protect their gun ownership rights of people here and to keep our people safe. But because it was passed so quickly and so rushed, we didn't get that. We got something that was less than what it needed to be. You know, I support having responsible and safe gun ownership, but we don't necessarily need all of the restrictions that are in that SAFE Act.
Ryan Hedrick, Eddie Sundquist, candidate for Congress of the 23rd District here in New York State. Part 2 tomorrow on bullying right here on WNYNewsNow.com.